This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, it's Jeff Cutastrophe welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today is a former NFL quarterback who was a star for the University of Cal and even coached for them. And let's not forget, this guy actually started his career with the CFL before joining the NFL. This guy is the member of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, the BC Lions Hall of Fame, the College Football Hall of Fame, and the University College California Hall of Fame. And he was one of 8 members to have his number retired by the BC Lions. He was actually a top 50 player in the CFL history, but this was 2006. He actually is the only quarterback in history to be in the Super Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and the Grey Cup. His name, Joe Kapp. He's still alive and he's 84. Anyway, Joe Kapp played college football at the University of Cal, which isn't really known for their quarterbacks, unless you're an Aaron Rodgers fan, obviously. He got Cal to win the Pacific Coast Conference, which was the predecessor to the Pac-12 you see today. And they went to the Rose Bowl, where they lost to Iowa. This 1958 event was the last time Cal went to the Super Bowl. Went to the Rose Bowl. Shows how pathetic they are. Kapp was an All-American and earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in physical education. But the NFL didn't really think he was good. In the 18th round, now remember, NFL drafts were not always 7 rounds, but in the 18th round, Washington decided to sign him. And Washington didn't contact him. But there was an offer from the other league, the CFL, not the AFL, but the CFL. Calgary wanted him. So he joined Calgary and got them to the first playoff appearance in a while. His freshman season in the CFL was hard because he had a heavily taped injury. And then BC decided, screw that, we want Joe Kapp. So we're going to trade 4 players to Calgary. And it worked. BC got to the 62 Grey Cup. They lost, but then they won in 1964. And Joe Kapp was huge for BC and all that. The best BC quarterback, not named Damian Allen, in most people's mind. Of course, a lot of you guys probably don't follow the CFL, but, the CFL was more popular with American players in the 1960s than you think. Anywho, he was a good leader and all of that. Then in 1967, before he started another game with BC, he said, you know what, I want to give American football back to the U.S. Another try. So the AFL, remember, the NFL's biggest rival at that time, not the CFL, were pursuing him. So Kapp decided to sign with Minnesota in a trade between the CFL and NFL teams. Minnesota gave BC Jim Young, who was a running back out of Queen's University in Kingston. He spent a couple years at the Vikings, but wanted to return to Canada. So through a series of moves, because Toronto had Jim Young's rights, Minnesota managed to get him. Joe Kapp would be the replacement for Frank Tarkenton, who basically was pissed off with Minnesota management, and went to the Giants. Presto change, Joe Kapp played in the NFL. So in 1967, he started 11 games for the Vikings and did not do so well. With 3 ties, especially ties. He wasn't doing that well. All that. But Joe Kapp, when he missed 3 games, the Vikings didn't win. However, Minnesota surprised a lot of people by going through the playoffs and going to the NFL Finals, taking on the Baltimore Colts. The Colts Minnesota was in the 14 NFL playoffs. That's right. They weren't in the NFL title game because in 1968-69, the Colts beat the Browns to get to the Super Bowl. Anyway, Minnesota lost to Baltimore, who then went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Jets, Super Bowl III. And then Kapp in 1969 tied an all-time record, which still stands to this day, of 7 touchdown passes in one game. And that was done against the Baltimore Colts of all people. 7 other players have 7 touchdowns in a regular season game. Sid Luckman, Adrian Burke, I don't know who that guy, George Blanda, Y.A. Tittle, Nick Foles, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees. One record Brady doesn't have. Anyway, the Vikings got to Super Bowl IV, and Joe Kapp was happy. He got his team to the Super Bowl, but they fell to the Kansas City Chiefs and matriculating the ball down the field in Super Bowl IV. And then the NFL and AFL decided to merge. All that. Anyway, Joe Kapp actually played that 69 season without a contract and made him a free agent and all that. So he couldn't play. But no team made him an offer or contacted him, even the Vikings. Then the Boston Patriots decided, hey, you know what? We need him. So they signed him. So the Boston Patriots, soon to be the New England Patriots, if you will, got him. So he was huge. Pete Rozelle said that the Patriots had to give up 2 number 1 picks in compensation to the Vikings. So that's what happened and all that. Kapp led the Pats to a 2-12 mark. That was the bad news. The good news is, even though it was the worst mark in the NFL, it got Boston, or the New England Patriots, rather, the number 1 pick, which they got Jim Plunkett. Although it didn't work out for them. And he went to the Raiders and did much better. Still, anyway. Kapp basically didn't play. He didn't want to play for the Pats after they selected Jim Plunkett. So he quit. Game over. Anyway, Kapp would be in acting. He made some TV stuff, but he made some acting careers. The Longest Yard, 2-Minute Warning, Semi-Tough, and The Frisco Kid, among others. Anyway, Joe Kapp in 1982 was given the chance to coach the University of Cal. And he was named Pac-10 Coach of the Year in his first year. And all that. Kapp said that he would not consume any of his alcoholic beverages, tequila, until the Golden Bears reached the Rose Bowl, which they didn't do. And they haven't since Joe Kapp left them in 1958. All that. Cal was actually Pac-10 co-champs in 2006, but they lost to USC, which meant that they went to the Holiday Bowl instead. Weirdly enough for Joe Kapp, his first season was when the play happened. And thanks to Kapp's ingenuity, you know the play, Stanford Cal, last game of the 82 season, Stanford needed to win to get to the Hall of Fame Bowl, which is a thing. Anyway, and yes, John Elway was on that Stanford team, if you must ask. So anyway, California kept laddering the ball and all that. And they managed to get the ball in the end zone, despite one of them maybe not happening because the knee was down. Anyway, Cal won and ruined Stanford's bowl game aspirations. Well, it didn't work out that well. He got canned after 1986. And Joe Kapp actually was named BC's general manager in 1990. He was credited with getting Mark Gastineau to BC. Unfortunately, it failed miserably, and he was fired 11 games into the Lions schedule. However, Kapp was the guy who got Doug Flutie into the CFL, signing him with BC, before Flutie would go on to Calgary, Toronto, and then back to the NFL. So anyway, he has a wife and 4 children, with 4 grandchildren. He's an owner of a pizza. He was a pizza owner, a shop owner. His son Will was a fullback for Cal, and his grandson played for Cal too. But let's not forget that the greatest moment of Joe Kapp's career may not have been getting the Vikings to the Super Bowl, or Cal to the Rose Bowl, or the play. It's something to do with a famous incident in 2011. Before Grey Cup, Joe Kapp and Angelo Mosca were allowed to speak to each other, or speak at a luncheon. Unfortunately, Joe Kapp was upset because Mosca for Hamilton made an illegal hit on BC's Willing Fleming in the 1963 Grey Cup game, which Hamilton won. So Kapp and Mosca had some animosity, and it was huge and all that. The fight made national headlines on both sides of the border, and even got ESPN's attention. Come on, man. So, yeah, that's what happened. So, that was huge. But it was worth it in the long run. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adu.